In the beginning of years, when the world was so new and all, and the animals were just beginning to work for man, there was a camel, and he lived in the middle of the howling desert, because he did not want to work, and besides, he was a howler himself. So he ate sticks and thorns and tamarisks and milkweed and prickles, most excruciating idle. And when anybody spoke to him, he said humph, just humph, and no more. Presently the horse came to him on Monday morning, with a saddle on his back and a bit in his mouth, and said, "Camel, O camel, come out and trod like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel, and the horse went away and told the man. Presently the dog came to him with a stick in his mouth, and said, "Camel, O camel, come and fetch and carry like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel, and the dog went away and told the man. Presently the ox came to him with the yoke on his neck, and said, "Camel, O camel, come and plough like the rest of us." "Humph," said the camel, and the ox went away and told the man. At the end of the day, the man called the horse and the dog and the ox together, and said, "Three, O three, I'm very sorry for you, with the world so new and all, but that hump thing in the desert can't work, or he would have been here by now, so I'm going to leave him alone, and you must work double time to make up for it." That made the three very angry, with the world so new and all, and they held a paralaver, and an indaba, and a punchayet, and a powwow at the edge of the desert, and the camel came chewing milkweed, most excruciating idle, and laughed at them, and he said, "Humph," and went away again. Presently there came along the Jinn in charge of all deserts, rolling in a cloud of dust. Jinns always travel that way because it is magic. And he stopped to paralever and powwow with the three. "Jinn of all deserts," said the horse, "is it right for anyone to be idle, with the world so new and all?" "Certainly not," said the Jinn. "Well," said the horse, "there's a thing in the middle of your howling desert, and he's a howler himself, with a long neck and long legs, and he hasn't done a stroke of work since Monday. He won't trod." "Whew," said the Jinn, whistling. "That's my camel, for all the gold in Arabia. What does he say about it?" "He says humph," said the dog, "and he won't fetch and carry." "Does he say anything else?" "Only humph, and he won't plough," said the ox. "Very good," said the Jinn. "I'll humph him if you will kindly wait a minute." The Jinn rolled himself up in his dust cloak and took a bearing across the desert, and found the camel most excruciatingly idle, looking at his own reflection in a pool of water. "My long and bubbling friend," said the Jinn, "what's this I hear of your doing no work, with the world so new and all?" "Humph," said the camel. The Jinn sat down with his chin in his hand and began to think a great magic, while the camel looked at his own reflection in the pool of water. "You've given the three extra work ever since Monday morning, all on account of your excruciating idleness," said the Jinn, and he went on thinking magics with his chin in his hand. "Humph," said the camel. "I shouldn't say that again if I were you," said the Jinn. "You might say it once too often. Bubbles, I want you to work." And the camel said, "Humph," again. But no sooner had he said it than he saw his back, that he was so proud of, puffing up into a great big lollipopping humph. "Do you see that?" said the Jinn. "That's your very own humph that you've brought upon yourself, by not working. Today is Thursday, and you've done no work since Monday, when the work began. Now you are going to work." How can I," said the camel, "with this humph on my back?" "That's made a purpose," said the Jinn, "all because you missed those 3 days. You will be able to work now for 3 days without eating, because you can live on your humph. And don't ever say I didn't do anything for you. Come out of the desert and go to the three and behave. Humph yourself." And the camel humped himself, humph and all, and went away to join the three. And from that day to this day, the camel always wears a humph. We call it a hump now, not to hurt his feelings. But he has never yet caught up with the 3 days that he missed at the beginning of the world, and he has never yet learned how to behave. The camel's hump is an ugly lump, which well you may have seen at the zoo. But uglier yet is the hump we get from having little to do. Kiddies and grown-ups too woo-woo. If we haven't enough to do woo-woo, we get the hump, Cameelious Hump, the hump that is black and blue. We climb out of bed with a frozily head and a snarly, yarly voice. We shiver and scowl and we grunt and we growl at our bath and our boots and our toys. And there ought to be a corner for me, and I know there is one for you, when we get the hump, Cameelious Hump, the hump that is black and blue. The cure for this ill is not to sit still, or frowst with the book by the fire, but to take a large hoe and a shovel also, and dig till you gently perspire. And then you will find that the sun and the wind, and the gin of the garden too, have lifted the hump, the horrible hump, the hump that is black and blue. I get it as well as you woo-woo, if I haven't enough to do woo-woo. We all get hump, Cameelious Hump, kiddies and grown-ups too. This is the picture of the djinn making the beginnings of the magic that brought the hump to the camel. First he drew a line in the air with his finger, and it became solid, and then he made a cloud, and then he made an egg, and you can see them both at the bottom of the picture. And then there was a magic pumpkin that turned into a big white flame. Then the djinn took his magic and fanned the flame, till the flame turned into a magic by itself. It was a good magic, and a very kind magic really, though it had to give the camel a hump because the camel was lazy. The djinn in charge of all deserts was one of the nicest of the djinns, so he would never do anything really unkind. Here is the picture of the djinn in charge of all deserts, guiding the magic with his magic fan. The camel is eating a twig of acacia, and he has just finished saying humph once too often. The djinn told him he would. And so the humph is coming. The long towel-y thing growing out of the thing like an onion is the magic, and you can see the humph on its shoulder. The humph fits on the flat part of the camel's back. The camel is too busy looking at his own beautiful self in the pool of water to know what is going to happen to him. Underneath the truly picture is a picture of the world so new and all. There are 2 smoky volcanoes in it, some other mountains and some stones and a lake and a black island, and a twisty river and a lot of other things, as well as a Noah's Ark. I couldn't draw all the deserts that the djinn was in charge of, so I only drew one, but it is a most deserty desert.